4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna see, then come along with me, that's right.
Hey, I'm Irish Dave, and this is Courtney. Hello. Welcome to Experience Michiana. This week, it's all about sustainability.
Yeah, and you know, sustainability is something that I studied in college too,
Oh, nice.
so this is kind of a near and dear thing to my heart. And we have Krista Bailey with us this week, who's going to be showing us around some of the areas across Michiana that really focus on sustainable futures. So things like a flower farm and a water exhibit, as well as, have you seen that huge solar farm?
I know that's an initiative between like Indiana Power and Notre Dame, so yeah, I'm excited to find out about that.
It is, and she's going to be telling us all about it. So check it out and how you can be sustainable in Michiana.
So today, I'm in Elkhart County. I know, kind of looks like anywhere, but it's a really special spot on how we can experience sustainability in Michiana with a lot of beauty and a lot of great stewardship of land. I'm at Single Tree Farm, and they grow flowers. So let's go check it out and find out what they do. Hey, Kate.
Hey, Krista.
Thanks for meeting me out here.
Yeah,
it's
thanks
a
for
gorgeous
coming.
day at the flower farm. Look at this.
It's beautiful.
So this is, if I was going to come and experience your farm,
Yeah.
this is where like a group tour might start, right?
This
so,
is where we start. Yeah.
and what do we usually show off besides all the glorious colors and scenery?
We like to show off a lot of different aspects of the farm. So the color is the most obvious, but I love kind of digging under the color a little bit. And we really like to show people how we grow things. So we farm a little differently. We use a lot of slower techniques to grow our flowers.
And what does
Things-
that mean, a slower technique?
Yeah, so when we started, this field was all grass and weeds. And instead of just
Wow.
spraying it, we used some plastic that you can see there to cover it. And the plastic burnt off the weeds from us. We left it on a long time, and then we lifted it up, added like 3 inches of compost on top, and then planted into that. So we do things that sometimes take a little longer, but give us healthier and richer soil.
Wow.
So when you come for a tour, we like to talk about how we farm and how we grow, not just what we grow.
So you're not putting chemicals on the soil to get rid of the stuff you don't want, that you then want to grow good things in,
Yeah.
which sounds very smart, and I appreciate that. So what are we seeing here?
So this is kind of our summer field. You're seeing some things that we planted in spring on their way out, and a lot of stuff for midsummer that's just coming up. So our snapdragons are a feature right now. They're super bright.
They're
We
gorgeous.
have some globe thistle over here, some zinnias. We try to grow a mix of things that you recognize, classic flowers that you might have in your own garden, but we supplement a lot with things that you haven't seen since you were in your grandma's garden when you were little, or more heirloom things. So lots of scent, lots of different textures and colors, things that kind of make you stop and wonder, what is that? How did that get in my bouquet?
So a really interactive bouquet experience, like
Yeah.
memory flowers, sensory things,
Yeah.
favorite things.
Yeah.
So what else would you show on a tour? We don't want to give it all away, but a little sneak peek.
Well, so after we talk a little bit about how we grow, we like to have a section for people to just enjoy the field and enjoy the flowers. So people will actually come through and spend some time picking whatever looks beautiful to them. So they walk through and harvest their own. We kind of suggest you want this much greenery, maybe this many bigger focal flowers, and here's where the funky stuff is, so get some of that. So they walk through and pick, and then we enjoy some tea and cookies together.
Oh,
And then I
nice.
do a little bouquet demonstration. So we show tour members how to make their own like European style hand-tied bouquet.
Wow.
So after doing that here, they can take that knowledge home and make their own.
So this is a wonderful experience for folks, but it's also your business that people invest in. So how does that work? I mean, it's great to come out and see these gorgeous flowers, but you've got to make a living at it too.
Yeah, so we kind of have 5 income streams right now. The tours, the farmers market in downtown Goshen. We do direct orders for people, so birthdays, anniversaries. weddings and events, and also our CSA program, which stands for Community Supported Agriculture.
Okay.
So that's a way that people can kind of invest in our farm. So they buy like a share of our farm in winter, and then they get bouquets weekly or bi-weekly throughout the growing season.
Wow. So they'll get to experience this by investing. They don't actually have to come here even.
Yeah.
They just pick up flowers and life goes on.
Yep.
So
Grab a bouquet and go.
now you're the co-owner. And so who's the other co-owner? Can they give us any other unique insights on how things work here?
Definitely. My co-owner is my spouse, Scott. And he is a great farmer. So he's actually over here and can talk a little bit more about some of our sustainability practices.
Hey, Scott.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us out in the flower field.
My pleasure.
Kate was just telling me about your CSA and that's one of many income streams that you have. But how does that work? I mean, you have like a couple people that give you money and expect flowers, and then hopefully you deliver. I mean, clearly you're going to deliver,
Exactly.
but you know.
Yeah, on scale. And so it becomes a really important part of our business in that customers pay up front, anywhere from Christmas time up until about Mother's Day, and they're buying a share in the farm that in return they expect a harvest of what we can produce over the year. But that gives us money throughout the off season or the slow season for us to pay bills and buy seeds and pay for labor, putting in all the crops. And it's what I love about it really is it's relationship based. So we get to know these customers who, many of them have been members for multiple years, and every week or every other week they show up at our farmers market stand to pick up their bouquet. They're often very happy to be there. And,
Flowers.
and you know, we know each other's names. They pick up their bouquet, say, see you next week. And we can tell that we're sharing a little bit of joy with them. They're supporting our business. It feels like a community over time, and we get to know each other and also support each other in that way.
So they're investing in
They are.
small local farm
Exactly.
that is bringing them a more prosperous community, but also a little joy every week or every other week.
Yeah.
So what other things do you guys do to kind of bring some revenue in to keep this lovely operation going?
So we have our CSA drop at the Goshen Farmers Market, and you can find us there on Tuesday afternoons and Saturday mornings, along with the other market vendors. There's a bunch of great produce, crafts, other flower farmers there.
Yeah.
And we're always there. We're selling some to wholesale accounts, mostly florists.
Cool.
And
Okay.
we do a lot of direct sales to people wanting to do events. So weddings, funerals, quinceañeras. There's always an opportunity for flowers at a celebration, and so we try to be available. We try to prioritize those events and make our harvest available, but it's really our CSA is the bread and butter of the farm,
Yeah.
so like we want to make sure we have the blooms for that.
But you've got a lot of ways that people can experience your farm and see lots of beautiful flowers, support some good stewardship of the land. Thank you for that. And
pleasure.
support, local farms, whether it's through the CSA or coming out for a tour, right? Or class or workshop or whatever. Or supporting you for having a party and I need a good bouquet, right?
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing the flowers with me this morning. It's really been a gorgeous experience.
Thank you for coming.
Best of luck. I hope lots of folks get to experience this little nugget of sustainability here in Michiana. So.
Wonderful.
All right, so in Michiana, we've got water, lots of water. So what? Why are we experiencing sustainability by looking closely at our water resources? Well, to find out more about how water contributes to our sustainable Michiana lifestyle, I'm here talking with Lynn Crichton. She's with the Watershed Foundation. I'm in North Webster on one of many beautiful lakes in the region to find out more about the role that they play in fostering prosperous local economies, supporting a clean and healthy environment, and of course, lots of fun stuff for us to do and to really build local culture around. So tell me about that. What is the role of water in this community?
Well, we're here in North Webster on Webster Lake, and we call this the area the Land of Lakes. Kosciuszko County has over 100 lakes, and has been well known for a long time as a great place to come and enjoy our water resources. We have an amazing history here with historic hotels, historic dance halls, and even the historic Dixie Sternwheeler, the oldest operating stern-wheeler boat in Indiana.
Wow. That's amazing. And that was an original driver of the economy here, as I understand.
Absolutely, yes. And so it's brought people to the area for tourism and for relaxation and enjoyment for many, many generations.
Wow. And we've got all kinds of stuff built up around here, small businesses, great places to eat, and lots of fun water sports. I can see a lot of boats out here, but I also see plants. Aren't these in the way of the fun we want to have?
Well, one of the things that we really focus on at the Watershed Foundation is how we can help keep our lakes clean and healthy for today and the future. And one of the ways to do that is to be sure we maintain a more natural environment in our lakes and to keep them really clean and healthy. And plants like these lily pads help us do that.
So we don't want to pull these out.
Exactly.
And we also want to put stuff near the lakes, beautiful flowers and plants to deter geese, and support our local wildlife. And I can hear the birds in the background, so I think we're doing pretty well on that part.
Definitely.
So folks can learn a lot more about this
at the Smithsonian Waterways exhibit.
There we go.
We're very lucky to be the first site in Indiana to host this amazing world-class display.
The first one.
The first one.
Okay. So we've got stuff to see at the exhibit to learn more about sustainability and practice in the past and present and future.
That's right.
All right, well.
Let's go.
Okay, show me the way. Oh, wow. So here's the exhibit.
Welcome
this is the
to
Smithsonian exhibit here.
Yes.
About water.
It's about water.
So what are we going to learn about water in this exhibit?
This exhibit takes the big picture about the importance of water in our lives and on our planet. So this exhibit's looking at the sources of water, how we use water, and the importance of keeping it clean and healthy.
That's kind of a big deal because we're mostly water.
Absolutely.
Right? And
yes.
the planet is weirdly named Earth, but it's mostly water.
That's right.
So let's take a look at the kind of things we might experience here learning about water.
Okay.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
This part talks about spirituality.
So water plays a big role in a lot of religious ceremonies all over the world, which
Absolutely.
is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and how it really shapes our communities, including where they're built and what we do in our communities.
So we've got swimming, surfing, rafting, kayaking, pontooning. Is that a word?
It is.
Okay, we've got that here too. And all kinds of stuff about watersheds. Now, what's a watershed? How would you simply explain that?
Watershed's a land area that drains to a particular body of water.
Okay, and so we're in a pretty special spot here.
Yes, we are. Yeah, so we're in the Tippecanoe River watershed, which drains to the Wabash, the Ohio, the Mississippi River, and the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow. So
But-
we are connected literally to a global water system right here.
Watersheds of many sizes, so everyone lives in a watershed. Just 2 miles from here, as we go north in northern Indiana, the water doesn't go to the Gulf of Mexico, it drains to the Great Lakes.
Yeah, so I come from another watershed. I crossed a watershed border. That's fun. So, okay, so here we've got a lot of things to interact with here too and to experience with this exhibit. I love this little reminder. See, like I said, 60% water.
That's
it's
right.
important.
We are water, and you're right. There are things that for all ages to do and learn. There are things that kids can touch and interact with, books and features that are to be utilized.
This is an incredible exhibit. I'm so happy that it's here, and it's one of many stops in Indiana.
That's right.
But it's not just about sort of the global picture of water that you've here. I see something special over in the corner here. So
What's really neat. Here we can learn what a watershed is, and over here we can learn about our watershed in our community.
So what should we know about in terms of the culture of living on the water and how we care for it and how we can best utilize it?
Well, what's really important is that we know we have a lot of water, and I think people really, they like the water, they value the water, but they don't really understand that we need to take care of it in order for it to be clean and healthy for today and for the future, and that there's things that we can all do to help make a difference. And we actually have information about that too.
Oh, great. Let's find out what we can do.
All right.
Beautiful pictures here.
So over here we talk about how water is important for all of us to protect, and there's just really easy ways to do that, like planting native plants, picking up your dog waste, maintaining a septic system, even not feeding those cute ducks and geese and swans. It's not good for them, and it's not good for the water.
Yeah, they do kind of make a mess, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so fun to see, but there's that. All right, and so what should I be scanning here? Why would I want to be scanning this? Because now I'm intrigued.
All right, so Indiana has a really amazing campaign called Clear Choices, Clean Water. So we can all make clear choices for clean water. And you go to the website, scan there, go to indiana.clearchoicescleanwater.org, and you make a pledge to do these simple actions and show our whole community that you care and that we can all help make a difference.
So I'm going to go here. Oh, yeah. And I can see, easy things that I can do. I didn't even know that that was a good thing. All right. Awesome. Well, we certainly have a lot of sustainability going on here in North Webster with water being such a great driver of the local economy, obviously. But like you said, it's so plentiful, sometimes we take it for granted. But we shouldn't. We really need to treasure this resource to preserve our own health, being water creatures, and the health of our planet. So
Absolutely.
And to continue to have fun on the water, right? To get out and, I don't know, maybe we can go paddleboarding when we get out of here.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Krista Bailey with IU South Bend Center for a Sustainable Future, here to explain to you how you are experiencing sustainability in Michiana, even when you're just driving down the road, cutting through the area, or coming and going from place to place. And that is a solar farm that has just sprouted up here in Michiana. So we're here to learn more about that, what that offers to our area. So we're talking with Shanae. She's from AP, American Electric Power, talking to us about the solar farm. And this is a partnership project. So we've got Paul Kemp here from the University of Notre Dame to help fill us in on what all is going on here. So let's take a look at this field. It's quite a sight to see. So, Shanae, this is a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, this is an investment. Why the move to solar right here, right now?
Well, more of our Indiana Michigan Power customers, they're talking to us and they want more of their energy sources to come from renewable energy, such as solar and wind farms. So we're listening to that, and we are making our investments adjusting to what their needs are. So behind us, there are these 57,000 solar panels.
57,000.
Yep. So if you do the math, that's these panels can fit onto about 30 football fields. And if you're just driving by here on Cleveland and Bittersweet, you may not notice that that's how large it is. But all of this sits on 210 acres. And so it took our company 8 months from start to finish to construct this solar farm out here, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we had more than 100 workers out here. They masked up, they got to work, so we can have this renewable energy in our community. So altogether, the workers put in 75,000 man hours to create this from start to finish.
So that is a big investment. And so this is all in response to what consumers want. So us saying, okay, we know where we're getting most of our energy from, but we'd really want it from renewables. So it's just in response to that. So is this something that you anticipate getting a good payback on all those hours of putting, time and materials into this?
So the St. Joseph Solar Farm, it's a very visible commitment to our customers and our community. That Indiana Michigan Power is dedicated to diversifying its energy mix. And this solar farm is an example of that. It's highly visible, like I said. It's right here at the intersection of Cleveland and Bittersweet. And the Indiana Toll Road is right there. So it's a highly visible project for everyone to see. And then in return, it could also have economic development benefits for our area. As we, new businesses would like to come in and set up shop in this area, they are looking for those renewable energy outlets to have to connect to so they can power their business clean.
So the payback isn't so much of, ooh, we're saving a ton of money because of, but you're looking at this as an investment in investments that are coming in the future. And I know it's been a good partnership developer as well. So having that clean energy, it's obviously great for the air and the soil and the water and all the good environmental impacts, but we also see this as a seed for economic prosperity coming in the future.
And then Indiana Michigan Power, we do have plans to, add more renewable energy assets to our portfolio. We are committed to adding about 1,600 megawatts of clean energy, whether that be wind or solar, to our portfolio by 2030. And along with our parent company, American Electric Power, we want to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050.
That's fantastic. This is such great news. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. And really just the view of seeing this in person right next to it is pretty special. But I know driving by, hopefully this catches people's attention. I do want to chat a little bit with Paul because I know this isn't something that AEP did all on its own. It was definitely a partnership-driven initiative, which is really important to developing sustainable initiatives, no matter what they are.
Yep, so part of our reason why Indiana Michigan Power wanted to partner with the University of Notre Dame is because, not just the solar farm is visible, but we also want to take this project and, maximize the educational benefits that come out of this. And then Paul can talk more about that, but that's a big reason why we wanted to partner with the university on a project like this.
Well, Paul, this is quite an undertaking. What are you hoping that the university will gain from this partnership and having such a big solar field?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. The main one was for us to look for a carbon offset. This is one facet of a multifaceted plan we have to reduce our carbon emissions, much like I&M and AP. We seek to get to carbon neutrality in the near future as well. And I've been working on that for a long time. So this was a complementary piece to a diversified portfolio of projects. We're obviously doing a hydro project downtown in South Bend. We've done a fair amount of geothermal on campus, still looking at lots of other opportunities as well. So, but this also brought us, it was an interesting way we got there. I mean, I&M being an inquisitive sort of company, and we're one of their 20 largest customers, they were interested in finding out what were our plans for sustainability. And then they went away and came back because our goals were, we're trying to reduce our carbon emissions on campus. We didn't want to buy solar credits or wind credits that were 3 states away. We want to do something in our community. And to date, everything we've done has been on campus, our own reductions. They came back with this idea of, we have some property, and the other piece for us was visibility. We wanted that community visibility. So much of what we do gets buried in the ground or in a small place downtown. This certainly has some visibility, and especially with the toll road. So they were very creative in finding this piece of property, which, by the way, is also part of what was originally the St. Joseph Farm, and that's part of the name here, which was a property that Father Soren bought, 150 years ago, 200 years ago. This was farmland that fed the students of Notre Dame. So we've kind of come full circle back to have this property do positive things for the community, for Notre Dame. And obviously we have a huge interest in the economic development of South Bend and St. Joe County and the region. And so this is a great thing. People ask, we're taking a 40% share of this, the output from this, and mainly we're like the anchor tenant at the mall. I&M wanted somebody with name recognition of size to come in and take a good piece, but not so much that there wasn't a lot left for other people, whether it's in Indiana or there are other customers in Michigan as well. So we're very supportive because economic development in the region certainly helps the university as well. And then the added educational benefit. So this is an opportunity for our students that are interested in sustainability to tour, to come out here. We'll actually get some of the dashboard data back that whether the students can use for education or researchers if they want to study solar energy in this region can do that as well. So it brings us a lot of different opportunities.
Because solar can work in Indiana. I hear a lot of folks saying, oh, it's so cloudy here, we can't possibly have solar here. But here we have 57,000 panels that are literally feeding campus still from this ground, right? But feeding power so that we can run our lives with comfort and ease.
And the technology is constantly improving. I would say if you went back 5 or 10 years ago, wind was a preferred choice over solar, but the efficiency of the panels have increased. Obviously this application with the articulating panels that rotate from east to west to maximize what they capture from the sun adds to the output of this facility. So it will reduce I think it's 13,000 tons of CO2 per year on an annual basis.
Oof,
and
wow.
that helps us with our carbon footprint, and I&M as well with theirs.
Absolutely. So they're articulating panels, you said. So they actually turn, they follow the sun. So
Right.
if you're driving by at different times of day, it's going to look a little bit different, and that's why.
Correct. And at night, they
Very
reset
cool.
and go all the way back over and face east. As you see them now, they're pointing west because it's late in the day. But in the morning, they'll be faced back the other way. And we've stood out here for a while today, and every so often you'll hear groups of them the little gear drive comes along and they tilt a couple inches, and they just keep trying to optimize their connection with the sun.
Fantastic. So as we're looking towards the future, we've got a big amount of space in solar panels. It's one more step towards carbon neutrality. It made sense economically for the university and for AP to invest in this. Obviously, it's a better investment. It's keeping all those emissions out of the air and offering ways for people to learn and engage and see that this is happening and possible here in Michiana, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
What's something that you're hoping will grow out of this experiment? You mentioned some research and engagement. I know it's kind of fenced off. We couldn't just come walk around. We don't want to mess with the panels.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, I just think this helps advance the technology. And like any developing technology, it takes people doing it and using it for it to become more mainstream and more used and more efficient, because there's more research that goes into it. So I think you just hope the efficiency of solar gets better and better as time goes by. The life of the panels gets longer, much like any technology. And we've got to find clean energy technology for the future. This is one example. There are many. And again, I'm very supportive of a diversified approach. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and say solar is the only answer. Right now, it's one of the best answers.
yeah. Wonderful. Well, it's great to see it up close and personal and understand what we've been seeing from the road and how sustainability really is happening here in Michiana in visible and non-visible ways.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for
It's also
showing
insane.
us
You should
this.
point out that this is very pollinator friendly. They've planted these special grasses in here that will kind of environmentally bring the space
Oh.
back. And I noticed today, especially as the corn's growing up, you really don't see this site until you're upon it, right? When you're out here on Cleveland. So unlike a wind turbine that's sticking up and makes some noise, these, other than the little noise that no one would hear if you're not standing next to them, they're very environmentally friendly.
Yeah, very low impact, and in fact, adding to the environment by having. I was wondering, I didn't recognize these grasses, but now that all makes
Lots
sense.
of birds we were noticing today. You can hear them, and they're perching on the panels, and so it's kind of brought this site back to a nice environmental approach.
Fantastic, improving our environment in multiple ways. So
Correct.
great. Well, thanks for showing us some of the insights on what is going on here off the toll road and here at Bittersweet in Cleveland. So get out, take a drive around, and take a look at how sustainability is happening here in Michiana.
So thank you so much to Krista. It's cool to see so many sustainable things happening around Michiana.
It is. I love that kind of stuff.
So do I.
That's really cool. And we have more cool things coming up next week on Experience Michiana. And of course, if you have some things that you want us to check out, we'd love to get that experience too. So be sure to hashtag us with Experience Michiana on Facebook, or you can like or comment on our page too.
This WNIT local production has been made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.